Hello YNABers, my name is Jesse Meekum from You Need a Budget. Yes, you do. And this is another Whiteboard Wednesday. Today we're not going to talk about budgeting at all, except to acknowledge that taxes are one of the, if not the single largest expense of your life. If you really add up all the taxes, sales tax, gas tax, registration fees, just start going through the list. It's a massive expense. It's September, which means we should start thinking about it. There should be some planning. There are ways to minimize your taxes, and because it is such a big expense, it's up to you to pay as little as you legally can. So it'd be just like a mortgage. If someone said, hey, I've got a strategy for you that will lower your mortgage legally by 15, 20%, you'd do it, right? Let me tell you a little story. Well, first let me tell you this. This Whiteboard Wednesday is not complicated. Taxes in September, yes, because to really minimize taxes, it takes a little planning. And once that calendar year stops, December 31st, the planning is essentially over. And so you need to start thinking about it a little early, especially if you have a semi-complex tax situation. Maybe you own a rental property or two, or you own a business, or you're self-employed, things like that. Casey at wealthguardadvisors.com. Let me tell you a story about Casey. 1, he's my brother-in-law. 2, you should never hire your family. Well, I don't. I avoid it. But with Casey, I made a huge exception, and I'm actually thrilled with the decision. So some of you may know this story, but I was using another accountant back in 2007, 2008, I think 2009. And I'd give him my QuickBooks output for the business, and then he would come back with a return, and it was taken care of. And then around 2009, Casey got into tax preparation, and he's an accounting major and all that stuff. So he gets into tax preparation, and I think he'd been doing it about a year or so. And I asked him, hey, Casey, you should look at my returns. We'd already filed them, I think, for 2009, if I'm remembering right. You should look at my returns. My accountant did it, and maybe a second look would be a good thing. So Casey looks at it. He calls me up. It's Monday evening, and I'm eating dinner, and he never calls me. Well, really, doesn't ever call me. But but he calls me during dinner, which was an odd time, and he's really excited. And he says, hey, do you have a moment? I said, yeah, sure, this sounds important. So he's like, I was looking at your taxes, and if we took a deduction on this form instead of on this form, so don't spend any more money, don't buy a Humvee for the depreciation, don't do this, nothing crazy, right? Just no money out of my pocket. Let's take this deduction here instead of here. It saved me like $20,000. I'm not exaggerating that number. It was 20 plus. It was like I felt sick and elated at the same time. So we had already filed. And so we basically amended my returns and got the 20 grand back that I never would have even known that it was mine, right? I'd overpaid. My other accountant, he had way too many clients, and he didn't care to really strategize. He just was kind of a mill, and he pumped the paper through and I paid him whatever I paid him, and that was that. So that was my lesson. You want someone, if someone's prepping your taxes, you want them to be good. You want them digging in. And Casey, I was talking with him because we were doing kind of mid-year planning a couple weeks, maybe last week. And he said, I'm taking on new clients. I have some space. And he purposely doesn't just take any client under the sun, and he doesn't just take as many as he possibly can, because then he doesn't give that individual I feel like I'm selling him too much. Anyway, Casey's taking clients, so I said, I'm going to tell people on the Whiteboard Wednesday about it. If you have a semi-complex tax situation, I know it's September, right? This is weird, but we need some time to plan and strategize for your taxes so you can minimize that massive expense. So Casey's taking clients. I know he's my brother-in-law. I get no financial benefit from this. Maybe I get a warm fuzzy around Thanksgiving for it, but beyond that, I try and really keep it very clean cut. So you talk with him, you guys work it out, and I'm done. But just know that he is taking clients. I've been super happy with him. He's saved me tons and tons of money. He's extremely meticulous, which is exactly what you want. And it's a Rule 2 fund. You should be saving for it. You should be thinking about it. As a business owner especially, don't get caught in April where suddenly the business is on the ropes because you didn't set aside money for taxes. So until next week, that's it. Thanks for listening.